Standard celebrity watch tours prioritize the hardware. They focus on escapements, reference numbers, and the rhythmic sound of ticking price tags. Robert Downey Jr. offers a different thesis. Looking at his arbitrary collection of jewelry, you'll know as much about him as anyone on Earth. Mass-produced luxury items struggle to convey personality. A chunk of machined steel and sapphire crystal possesses its own gravity, but it rarely absorbs the specific energy of the person wearing it. RDJ bridges that gap by adopting the role of the unreliable narrator. He treats his timepieces as props for a performance, actively blending verifiable career milestones with blatant fabrications. This is an analysis of how a charismatic icon uses objects as blank canvases, layering them with performative stories to construct a personal mythos in real time. For the performance to work, it needs a foundation in the real world. Downey begins by establishing a baseline of Hollywood credibility. He points to a Jaeger LeCoultre with an open back, noting that he wore it during the production and promotion of Iron Man 2. It is a straight fact, tying the collection to his most visible cinematic era. He follows this with a green and black Rolex GMT Master 2. He bypasses any talk of horological heritage, simply calling it the green money Rolex, because it clearly looks expensive. That same transactional logic applies to a matching pair of black Rolexes. He bought one for himself and one for a friend, simply because the brand is a safe, recognizable bet. These factual, status-signaling watches provide the necessary weight to the collection. They prove his access to high-end luxury, which makes his subsequent attempts to deflate that luxury more effective. With the baseline established, the performance pivots. Downey begins inventing absurd histories to mock the gravity usually associated with high-end collecting. Holding a blue dial Omega Speedmaster, he casually claims he doesn't have an endorsement deal with the brand yet, framing the watch as a placeholder for an imaginary corporate contract. The fabrication deepens with a family origin story. He describes his grandfather pawning a watch to fund a small pharmacy, spinning a detailed yarn about local entrepreneurship. The story ends with the grandfather getting busted for forging doctor signatures. It is a bizarre punchline, designed to explain away the watch's provenance as a shameful, low-cost acquisition. Layering the objects in these ridiculous stories strips away their sterile, intimidating atmosphere. The more absurd the history, the less the watch feels like a precious museum piece. The tone shifts when the watches connect to his actual peers, specifically his co-stars from the filming of Tropic Thunder. He claims he gave a watch to Ben Stiller, only for Stiller to reject it because it was too large for his wrist. Downey immediately breaks the lie, admits the gift actually came from Stiller, and calls it a wrap present from the end of the movie. Framing a meaningful gift as a rejection first creates a protective layer of irony. It allows him to acknowledge a sincere gesture while maintaining his public mask of detachment. This use of sarcasm acts as a shield. It provides a way to express genuine professional affection without the vulnerability of a straightforward, earnest tribute. The tour reaches its climax with a diamond-encrusted Patek Philippe, a gift from his wife that represents the pinnacle of the collection's glamour. When faced with this extreme luxury, Downey's first instinct is a joke. He recalls asking his wife if she had accidentally bought him a Seiko. The humor masks a recognition of the object's value. He frames his appreciation around the fear of his wife's reaction, using a joke to navigate the weight of a truly significant gift. These interactions suggest that the value of any material good is secondary to the narrative we wrap around it. The metal stays the same, but the story changes its gravity. The character of a collection emerges from the friction between the owner and the object. Brand prestige is a baseline, but the owner's willingness to mock or obscure that prestige is what provides the insight. Downey's initial claim proved valid. The watches were just the medium. Looking past the diamonds and the steel reveals the architecture of his performance, a map of deflections and fabrications that, in their own messy way, provide a clearer portrait of the narrator than a simple list of facts ever could.